Have you ever noticed how easy it is to lose your cool these days? A delayed text, a rude comment online, or that one coworker who just knows how to push your buttons. We live in a world where everything, every emotion, every opinion hits us instantly. And most of us, we react. We snap back. We stress out. We overthink. But here's a question. What if you could train your mind to stay calm no matter what happens? What if chaos didn't control you, but you controlled how you responded to it? That's what the ancient Stoics believed. Thousands of years ago, long before therapy apps and self-help books, they discovered a simple truth. You can't control the world, but you can always control yourself. And that idea, that simple shift, is what made them mentally stronger than 99% of people around them. Today, I want to share 5 Stoic habits that can do the same for you. 5 small shifts in how you think, act, and respond that can make your mind tougher, calmer, and clearer than almost anyone you know. These aren't abstract philosophies or quotes from dead philosophers. They're living principles, things you can practice today in real life. So, take a deep breath, forget the noise for a moment, and let's begin with the first habit, the one that teaches you how to face your fears before they even happen. Most people hear the word stoic and picture someone emotionless, cold, detached, like a stone statue that never smiles. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. Stoicism isn't about ignoring your feelings. It's about mastering them. It's about staying centered when everything around you is falling apart. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor often called the philosopher king, didn't live in peace and luxury. He ruled during wars, plagues, betrayal. And yet every night before bed, he wrote in his journal, reflecting, calming his mind, reminding himself to stay rational and kind. He wasn't numb, he was aware. And that's the real heart of Stoicism, not to shut down your emotions, but to give them direction. To be able to say, I feel anger, but I won't let anger decide who I become. If you look around today, you'll see modern Stoics everywhere, even if they don't call themselves that. A firefighter running into a burning building while staying calm under pressure. A parent who chooses patience instead of shouting when their child makes a mistake. Or even someone in traffic, taking a deep breath instead of leaning on the horn. That's Stoicism in real life. Control without suppression. It's what gives people real strength. The quiet kind you don't see in headlines, but feel in presence. Now here's where it gets interesting. Stoicism isn't just ancient philosophy, it's practical psychology. It teaches you that peace doesn't come from controlling the world, but from controlling your reaction to it. And that's where the first Stoic habit begins. A strange but powerful practice that prepares you for whatever life throws your way. Let's dive into it. Habit number 1, negative visualization.
Imagine waking up one morning, reaching for your phone, and realizing it's gone. Your photos, your contacts, your work, everything wiped out. For most people, that would ruin their day. But a Stoic would smile, take a deep breath, and think, I knew this could happen. That's the essence of negative visualization. A simple but powerful habit that trains your mind to be calm when life hits you hard. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, which means the premeditation of evils. It's not about being negative. It's about preparing your heart for reality. Because life isn't perfect, and pretending it is only makes pain worse when things go wrong. Marcus Aurelius practiced this every morning. He reminded himself, today I'll meet people who are rude, selfish, jealous. Not because he was cynical, but because he wanted to stay kind despite it all. Seneca, another great Stoic, wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. By imagining loss, he reduced fear of it. So, how can you apply this today? It's simple. Before your day begins, take 30 seconds and picture one thing that could go wrong. Missing a flight, losing a client, having a tough conversation. Then, remind yourself that you'd still be okay. You'd adapt. You'd find a way through it. When you do this consistently, something incredible happens. You stop clinging to things. You stop fearing loss. You begin to appreciate what you already have. That cup of coffee tastes better. That hug from your partner feels deeper. That morning sunshine feels warmer. Negative visualization isn't about expecting the worst. It's about valuing the best while you have it. And once you stop letting fear of loss control you, you become stronger, calmer. You realize that peace comes not from having more, but from needing less. Now that you've seen how to prepare your mind for challenges, it's time to talk about the next habit, the one that helps you regain control in the middle of chaos. Let's move on to habit number 2. Focus only on what you can control. Think about the last time something didn't go your way. Maybe your flight got delayed, someone cut you off in traffic, or your boss sent an email that ruined your mood for the rest of the day. You probably felt angry, frustrated, maybe even helpless. But here's the truth the Stoics knew thousands of years ago. We don't suffer because of what happens to us, we suffer because of how we choose to respond. Epictetus, who was once a slave and later became a great philosopher, said it perfectly. Some things are in our control, and some things are not. It sounds simple, but living it out is a daily challenge. Most of us waste enormous energy trying to change things we can't. People's opinions, the weather, the economy, the past. Meanwhile, we ignore the one thing we always have power over, our response. Picture this. You're standing in the rain without an umbrella. You can complain, blame the forecast, or yell at the sky. Or you can laugh, run through it, and remind yourself that storms always pass. That's the Stoic way, shifting from reaction to response. It's not about ignoring reality, but choosing how you meet it. Here's a simple practice. Take a sheet of paper and draw 2 columns. On the left, write everything that's stressing you out right now. On the right, write only what's within your control about each one. Then focus on that right column and let the left one go. You'll be surprised how light you feel when you stop trying to control what was never yours to begin with. Athletes use this all the time. A basketball player can't control the referee's call, but he can control his focus on the next play. A soldier can't control the weather on the battlefield, but she can control her discipline and composure. That's where real freedom lives, not in changing the world, but in mastering your reaction to it. And here's the beautiful part. Once you stop wasting energy on what you can't control, you gain energy to strengthen what you can. You start living with clarity, not chaos. But Stoicism doesn't stop at calmness. It teaches growth through challenge. And that brings us to the next habit, one that might sound uncomfortable at first, but it's the key to building unshakable mental strength. Let's move on to habit number 3, embrace discomfort daily. There's a simple truth about life that most people avoid. Comfort is the enemy of growth. We crave convenience, warm showers, air-conditioned rooms, 2-day shipping, food delivered in minutes. But every time we choose comfort, we lose a little bit of our edge. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology proved it. They practiced something called voluntary discomfort, deliberately exposing themselves to small challenges so they could stay calm when bigger ones arrived.
Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, would sleep on the floor a few nights each month just to remind himself that he could live with less. Marcus Aurelius trained with soldiers, ate plain meals, and wore simple clothes even as an emperor. They weren't punishing themselves, they were preparing themselves. Because here's the thing, if you only feel strong when life is easy, you're not really strong. In our modern world, discomfort doesn't mean walking barefoot through snow or fasting for days. It can be as simple as taking a cold shower, finishing that tough workout, having an honest conversation you've been avoiding, or spending a day without your phone. Each time you do something uncomfortable, you send a signal to your brain, I can handle this. And slowly, the things that used to scare you don't anymore. You stop avoiding hard things. You stop fearing failure. You start seeing discomfort as a teacher. Think of it like a muscle. The more you face discomfort, the stronger your resilience becomes. It's not about being harsh on yourself. It's about remembering that real peace comes from knowing you can handle whatever happens. Here's the paradox the Stoics discovered. When you stop running from discomfort, you become free. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. So try this. Once a day, do one thing that makes you slightly uncomfortable. Speak up in a meeting. Go for a run in the rain. Turn off your phone for an hour. You'll be amazed at how quickly your tolerance for life's ups and downs expands. And once you've trained your body and mind to handle discomfort, it's time to turn inward, to examine your thoughts, your emotions, and your daily actions with complete honesty. That's where the next Stoic habit comes in, one that transformed great leaders, thinkers, and warriors alike. Let's move on to habit number 4. Reflect daily through journaling.
Every night, before the world fell asleep, Marcus Aurelius would sit down and write, not for an audience, not for fame, but for himself. His words weren't meant to impress, they were meant to remind. He'd ask questions like, did I act with kindness today? Where did I let anger win? What can I do better tomorrow? And over time, those quiet reflections became one of the most powerful books in history, Meditations. That's what Stoic journaling really is. It's not about writing poetry or keeping a diary. It's a conversation with yourself, a mirror for the mind. We spend so much of our day reacting, scrolling, replying, moving from one thing to another that we rarely stop to ask, why did I feel that way? Reflection brings you back to yourself. It helps you slow down enough to see patterns, the triggers, the habits, the moments where emotion takes over reason. Try this simple ritual tonight. Before bed, open a notebook and write 3 things. What went well today? What did I do poorly or reactively? What will I do differently tomorrow? That's it. 3 small questions. It takes 5 minutes, but it rewires your awareness. And if you stick with it, you'll notice something shift. You'll start catching yourself in real time. You'll respond instead of react. You'll become less defensive, more grounded, and more at peace. The point isn't to be perfect, it's to be honest. You're not judging yourself, you're learning from yourself. Because awareness is the foundation of strength. You can't master what you don't understand. Journaling is where growth meets clarity. It turns experience into wisdom. And once you've learned to reflect, the next step is to live by what you discover, to let your values guide your choices, not your emotions. Let's move on to habit number 5. Live by virtue, not by emotion.
Every day, we face moments that test our character. Someone cuts us off in traffic. A coworker takes credit for our idea. A loved one says something that hurts. Our first instinct is to react, to defend, to snap, to fight back. But the Stoics believed that true strength isn't in reacting quickly.
It's in choosing wisely. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it." That's the heart of this habit, living by virtue instead of emotion. To the Stoics, virtue was everything. They defined it through four guiding values: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Wisdom helps you see clearly before acting. Courage helps you do what's right, even when it's hard. Justice reminds you to treat others fairly, no matter how you feel. And temperance keeps your desires and impulses in balance. When you live by these virtues, emotions don't disappear, but they stop driving the car. You feel anger, but you don't let anger speak for you. You feel fear, but you don't let fear stop you. You feel pride, but you don't let it blind you. Think about the people you admire most. They're not the loudest, the richest, or the most emotional. They're steady, grounded. You can feel a quiet power in them. That's what it means to live by virtue, having an inner compass that stays true, even when the world tries to pull you off course. Here's a simple way to start. Before you make a decision, big or small, pause and ask yourself two questions. Is this within my control? Does this align with my values? If the answer to both is yes, do it. If not, let it go. It sounds small, but over time, it shapes your entire life. Because when you live by virtue, you stop being tossed around by emotions, trends, and opinions. You find peace in integrity. You find power in calmness. And in a noisy, chaotic world, that calmness is rare. It's magnetic. It's strength. Now, as the world around us keeps changing faster than ever, how can we carry these ancient lessons into our modern digital lives? Let's explore that next in Part 8, The Modern Stoic in 2025.
It's never been harder to stay calm. Our phones buzz every few seconds, news headlines scream for our attention, and social media feeds are built to trigger emotion, anger, envy, outrage, fear. We live in an age of constant noise, and it's easy to mistake distraction for connection and reaction for meaning. But here's the truth. The challenges may look different, yet the Stoic principles remain the same. Marcus Aurelius had to face war and betrayal. We face anxiety, overthinking, and information overload. Different battles, same human emotions. Being a modern Stoic doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the world. It means engaging with it intentionally. It means choosing what deserves your attention and letting the rest go. You don't need to scroll endlessly through bad news to be informed. You don't need to compare your life to someone else's highlight reel to feel worthy. A modern Stoic curates their environment like they curate their thoughts. They unfollow negativity. They set boundaries with technology. They choose silence when the world shouts. And in doing so, they create space. Space to think, to breathe, to live with presence. Here's something to try. Pick 1 hour a day to disconnect completely. No phone, no notifications, no noise. Take a walk, read a book, sit with your thoughts. At first it might feel uncomfortable. Your brain will crave stimulation. But slowly that silence becomes your sanctuary. Because Stoicism isn't about retreating from the world. It's about finding peace within it. It's realizing that calm doesn't mean avoiding chaos. It means not letting chaos control you. The Stoics lived in crowded cities, led armies, faced loss, and yet remained grounded. You can do the same, right here in 2025. You just need to remember that your power isn't in how loud you are or how much you achieve. It's in how you carry yourself when life gets messy. And once you start living that way, you'll notice something magical. People around you begin to feel it too. Your calm becomes contagious. Your steadiness becomes strength. Now that we've seen how to bring Stoicism into the modern world, it's time to take it from theory to practice. Let's move on to Part 9, the Stoic Reboot, a 7-day challenge.
It's one thing to understand Stoicism. It's another to live it. And sometimes the best way to start is by keeping it simple. So here's a 7-day Stoic Reboot, a short, practical challenge to help you experience the calm, clarity, and strength of a Stoic mindset. No philosophy degree needed, just commitment and honesty. Day 1. Identify your stress triggers. Spend 1 day simply observing. Notice what upsets you: traffic, your phone, other people's moods. Write them down. Awareness is the first step toward control. You can't change what you won't name. Day 2. Separate what you can control from what you can't. Look at yesterday's list. For each trigger, ask, is this within my control? Focus only on what you can influence. Let the rest go. You'll feel lighter instantly. Day 3. Practice voluntary discomfort. Do one thing that challenges you. Take a cold shower, skip your morning coffee, or go for a run when you don't feel like it. You're reminding yourself that you can handle discomfort and thrive in it. Day 4. Journal before bed. Spend 5 minutes writing, what went well today? What could I have done better? What will I do tomorrow? Don't judge yourself. Just reflect. This is how you turn experience into wisdom. Day 5. Pause before reacting. The next time something annoys you, pause. Breathe. Count to 3 before responding. This one habit alone can transform your relationships and your peace of mind. Day 6. Digital detox. For 1 hour, unplug completely. No screens, no social media, no noise. Use that time to walk, think, or just sit in silence. You'll realize how much mental space you gain when you stop feeding the noise. Day 7. Reflect and adjust. Look back on your week. What felt hardest? What felt freeing? Write down one habit you want to keep. That's your anchor, your daily reminder to stay calm, grounded, and intentional. By the end of these 7 days, something will shift. You'll notice a quiet confidence replacing anxiety. You'll care less about what you can't control and more about living with clarity. And if you repeat this challenge every month, it stops being a test. It becomes who you are. Because being stoic isn't about being emotionless. It's about being unshakable. It's about finding strength in peace and peace in strength. Now that you've taken your first steps into living stoically, let's bring it all together with one final thought. Something simple but powerful enough to stay with you for life. Let's move on to Part 10. True strength is calm.
When most people think of strength, they picture power, muscles, status, dominance. But the Stoics knew a different kind of strength. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that stays quiet. Not the kind that forces control, but the kind that keeps control, especially when everything around you falls apart. True strength is calm. It's the ability to stay steady when others panic, to choose patience when anger feels easier, to remain kind when life feels unfair. Think back to the opening moment, the traffic, the rude comment, the pressure of modern life. Those things haven't disappeared, But you have changed. You've learned to pause, to breathe, to choose your response instead of reacting on instinct. You've learned to see challenges as teachers, not enemies. To use reflection as fuel for growth. To find courage not in force, but in self-control. That's the heart of Stoicism, not escaping emotion, but mastering it. Not running from life, but walking through it with clarity, with presence, with peace. And when you live that way, you start to notice something amazing. You stop being controlled by the noise. You stop being shaken by small things. People feel safer around you, more inspired, more grounded. Your calm becomes contagious. So remember this. You don't need to change the world to be strong. You just need to master the space between what happens and how you respond. That's where your power lives. That's where peace begins. And that's what makes you mentally stronger than 99% of people. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who needs a little calm in their life today. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is simply stay still.